Hi, I'm the Tale Weaver Omar, and DM here at A Tale of D20s Network.
Hi, I'm Zektown, and I am the DM here at A Tale of D20s Network.
Zek, you know I am the Dungeon Master for the drama-fueled, anime-inspired fantasy epic Descent into the Void, right?
Yes, but Omar, you know I am the Dungeon Master for the comedy-riddled, trope-smashing fantasy epic The Natural Ones.
I guess both of them are perfect shows for a tabletop podcasting network.
It's a good thing that people can find us at ataleofd20s.com then.
Yeah, you can also find us on Twitter at A Tale of D20s. That's at ATALEOFD20S, A Tale of D20s.
And you can find each show on Twitter at The Nat Ones Cast, at THENAT1SCAST, The Nat Ones Cast, or Descent Void at DESCENTVOID, Descent Void on Twitter.
So, if you want thrilling drama,
or a side-splitting comedy, A Tale of D20s has you covered.
Greetings, Dungeon Delvers, and welcome to yet another exciting chapter of A Tale of D20s Descent into the Void, where six friends journey together to tell a story of mythic proportion. So without further ado, let's remove the bookmark and continue our epic tale.
Gather round, gather round. Let me tell you a tale of life and death, of joy and sorrow, a tale of D20s!
Last time, Liberators, you finished your expedition to Goldgrass Ranch after defeating the Water Demon. Upon arriving back in Thelos, the arcane capital, Cal, King, and Duran went back to the mansion, while Monaco and Horatio continued to the Corporus on a secret mission. Here, the Archmages presented a way for Monaco to free herself from the Burning Hand by journeying into the Nine Hells and retrieving an artifact that can bind him after they discover his true name. With the Corporus in completion of their end of the bargain, Horatio agreed to join, and during the process, a power was unlocked within him. Covered in tattoos and brimming with energy, Horatio had become what was known as an Archon of Power. With this new revelation, Judean and Alara changed the terms of the Gesh that was to be placed upon Horatio, instead having him bring his mother directly to the Archmages here in Dusthaven, rather than any Corporus. He also alluded to an ulterior motive to use Horatio in a power over the Corporus leader, the Grand Magus. With the Gesh complete, Horatio and Monaco met up with King and then the rest of the group, where they had disposed of the undead captive that Cal and Duran had. Back at the mansion, Cal decided to travel to the Bloodline alone, called by his leader Drusilla. Heading there with Hootie in tow, Cal entered a strange lounge-like bar, viewing patrons being bitten by vampires behind closed doors, seeming to receive some type of euphoria from the process, as he followed the guards into the inner sanctum of the Bloodline. There Cal met Drusilla, who told Cal that she knew of him in another life and knew about his past, showing him a small painting of a gray baby tiefling held by a tiefling woman and a shadow of a tall tiefling gentleman in the background, giving him the name Eden Goren. Drusilla also explained that the Bloodline wanted to go deeper into the void, into the sixth layer of darkness, where they can finally be free. The catch, however, is that the layer is magically sealed and nothing but the mortal key can open its doors, and the Bloodline needed Cal for this. She also warned of Regan Coldhammer and the heir of Equipoise. Heading back, Cal was then attacked by an armored figure that seemed to be out of its mind, and he quickly fled and reported back to his allies. After relaying the information, you all prepared yourself with the communion with Koben back at his shop, and headed your way there. So, Liberators, you have traveled to Koben's demon-slaying shop and walked back into the backyard that is covered with statues and effigies of gods, old and new, placed in a ritualistic formation around a magical circle. Sitting down, you all place your weapons and divine candles into the center and hold hands as Koben looks at all of you and says, "Now then, hold hands, and are we ready to begin the communion?"
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm as ready as I'm ever gonna be.
Excellent.
I am ready.
Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Koben, for hosting. This means a lot to me.
It's my pleasure after what you've done for me and the people of Goldgrass Ranch. I'm happy to help. So, are we all ready to begin?
King nods.
And he holds out his hands, and you all go and grab each other's hand as you all have finished placing your items directly into the magical circle. Koben then starts to go into a strange song-singy speech. It starts off in common, flowing into different languages that some of you understand as primordial, as he goes into that, revealing that he knows this language, as well as other languages that none of you recognize at this point. But he continues, "By the power above and the power around us, I influx myself with the energies of the universe. The adventurers here have placed the items close to their heart and seek new knowledge upon it. Me as a conduit of all the energies, I summon forth the answers that they seek. Ekenemesaten mor, ek mektenesaten man, erectum ala sect deman." And he continues with this speech over and over again. Slowly, each of the statues of the gods and goddesses that are around you begin to glow a blue hue as you all stare and look around. The light shining on each of them growing brighter and brighter. All of your gods that you individually recognize, worship, are within this circle as well, and they all begin to glow brightly as the energy from their eyes, because they're all statues with full heads and features, shoot out above all of you and combine in a small bright circle that shoots down into the middle where it hits all of your magical items. After about a moment, and Koben is still speaking in his ritualistic tongue and getting louder and louder as he begins to kind of shake back and forth, holding onto your hands as this continues. Rising up first, as his words get louder and louder, the winds begin to pick up and blow around you as it starts to blow over your faces and your clothes, and your hair begins to start to rustle. Coming up first is Chastaful 2.0. The unicorn-horned spear begins to rise up, going in between all the other weapons and floating right above as you all look on towards this. The divine candle burning brightly, seeming to get larger flame every second of this ritual. As it begins to spin around, it breaks into the 5 pieces that you saw Chastaful normally break into when summoning the steeds of unicorns for each of your allies' king. But instead of transforming, it begins to spin around, each of them flying around each of your heads, 1 piece each. It begins flying into the air, moving in very aerodynamic ways, slashing back and forth and spinning, whizzing past you as you hear the buzzing of this magical spear piece in your ears. At the end of this dance that it puts on, it fuses back together, showing a large unicorn spirit as it lands onto the ground, stepping right in front of King. You're still holding hands with everyone next to you, and it almost feels like you can't even let go as it goes and bows its head towards you, touching you with the tip of its unicorn horn. At that moment, you are infused and flux with information that flows into your head. It speaks to you. It says to you, "My name is Keliara. I am the aspect of you. Use me as you wish, for I will be an ally in battle." And you learn that you have the ability to use an action to form the spear into its true form of Keliara, the same unicorn that you met during your stupor and fever when you first arrived in Thelos. You are able to summon as an action, and it becomes a companion of yours that can last until you dismiss it. It has all the stats of an actual unicorn, although its legendary actions return after a long rest, and I will share for you the stats, or you can look into it if you can. And it rolls its own initiative, though, but you do control the unicorn. Afterwards, it breaks again into the several different pieces of the pieces of Chastaful, and you also learn that you have the ability, when it's in its split form, it becomes 5 medium-sized pieces that can be controlled as if it was the animate object spell, though they are magical and have advantage against constitution saves and are immune to poison. But keep in mind that they can take damage, but you're not sure what would happen if they were to, let's say, break, because they have the 40 HP each, I believe. Afterwards, the unicorn staff completes itself back into its original form and floats down right next to King, right in front of you as you kneel before it. And during this time, Koban is continuing his ritual, going back and forth, getting louder and louder. Afterwards, the staff of Alsalar begins to rise, and Horatio, you look on. As you look at it and it flows in front of you, it begins spinning into the air. After it finishes its twirls and whizzes, it lands firmly onto the ground right in front of you, standing taut and straight. After, out of the staff head, which is the circular burning symbol, burning bird symbol that's at the head of the staff, shines kind of like a signal out, creating a projection in the center of the magical circle. Immediately you see, as if you're looking on through someone else's eyes, the staff of Alsalar in front of you. When you look down at your hand, you say they're very avian-like hands with feathers onto it, and they're pristine white, holding on to it. Looking in front of you, as you can see your nose, there is a yellow beak protruding before you. As they're blinking twice, you see standing in front of you the man that you recognize as Frank Kane. Frank, I do not know what's happened. This is something I did not expect. I did not know she was divine. The power she's shown. Did you know any of this? And then your father speaks back. Zorden, I had no idea. Though I had my suspicions. This means that she's... what? Is she a goddess? Is she divine in nature? Has she been lying to us all this time? I do not know. And as your eyes kind of look away, you look back and see there's you're looking at a water reflection. Looking down at yourself, you see it's the Pontifex, Zorden. Though he looks younger, wearing different type of armor. Though you can easily tell that it is Zorden Bak, the ruler, the used-to-be ruler of Galim. The image continues. The scene continues, and he looks back towards your father and says. He looks and says, she'll still come back to Galim with me. I still have, and you look down and look back up towards Frank. I'm still in love with her. It just means nothing different. Together we can birth the Irabu. I know it. It's her divine blood and mine. And Frank turns and says, is she nothing just but a pawn for you? For you to just realize the Orabu to save Galim? She's more than that. And the Pontifex looks back, the soon-to-be Pontifex looks back towards him. Why do you get so defensive? You don't care for her? Or has you been lying to me all this time? When I told you to stay away, and I told you how I felt about Susan. And then the scene seems to get more heated as they begin arguing back and forth. And as their voices get louder and louder as they argue over your mother and the well-being of her, the image fades away. And the staff trips and falls down onto your lap, or in front of you, similar to the way that the king's spear did.
Did only I see that, or did everyone else see that?
Everyone saw this.
Okay.
Everyone's seeing all the visions, right?
Yes.
Okay.
After that, the ritual continues, and Monako, you witnesses the wand that you placed down for you, the wand that you just had to focus this new magical energies that you got from that on that day. That fateful day that you met your patron, begins to float up, and it too, in a similar fashion, floats in front of you and begins spinning. A black-like light, almost like silk, oozes out of the tip of the wand and completely engulfs the center of the circle 15 feet into the air, and a similar event with Horatio unfurls as an image comes up into play, but it's not an image of a scene, more of just pictures that float back. Black feathers falling down onto a pit of lava as they start to burn one by one, and these are very beautiful, pristine feathers. In the background, you can briefly see what looks to be a large black wing in the distance where they're falling from until the image fades away. Then a burning hand singed into the ground below, starts to have smoke come out and engulf the scenery. And as the winds blow and the dirt blows away, the image blows away as well, leaving nothing but just a picture of a tablet and a name that you just can't quite make out written onto this tablet. The wand itself begins to spin around over and over again, and you all of you feel a dark energy, a very fiendish energy waft across the entirety of the circle and the rest of you. As you're all hit with them, not only Monako, but everyone gets the image of the burning hand into their minds, almost like an image, just like a projection of this into your heads. And you also realize that you have the ability you hear one phrase, "Words are power," and you realize that the wand then begins to glow and gets coated in this black and red infernal energy, and you realize that it now received the power, or unlocked a power of words of power. You can use once ever, only one use of each word of power, which is power word kill, power word pain, power word heal, and power word stun. And then you hear whispers of like to be used in the days to follow. You're not sure who whispered that, where it came from. It didn't sound like anyone you recognize, but that was whispered to you. All right. Moving on. After the wand falls down right in front of Monako, now there's only a few weapons left into the circle, which is just Duran's blade and both of Cal's pistols, magical pistols. Duran, your blade flies up, and it stands firm. Well, it floats firm into the air, but immediately after, at this point, Koben's voice turns more dark, more sinister in nature. And all of you feel a chill roll down your spine. And as the blade from the void begins to glow this very deep black purple hue, and you all recognize this is the same hue that Deja Vu had, that Hiei had on all their demonic parts, and it begins to glow that. And it almost everyone but Duran just feels fear coming from this, but you're just in this state of a seance where you can't even move or release yourselves as the blade flies closer and closer, spinning in front of Duran, and it's spinning at a buzzing rate, whereas if it can slice off your head if it gets any closer, but it stops right in front of you, Duran, floating there and dangerously close. And as it does so, you're just wafted over with chaos energy, and King, you especially feel this, and it does not feel good. Not at all. It's almost like your inner self is being corrupted. Not much. Not as much as like I'm just going to turn into something else right now. But you can feel the beginnings of your inner energy being afflicted. And Duran, you realize that when you think about, like, you're telling it to stop, you give it a thought like it's getting too close, stop, and immediately stops. And then this feeling is intoxicating, but just with your personality alone, you're able to wave it off and control it. And you realize that you have something called chaotic control. If a being uses a chaotic being or a chaotic energy source attacks you or one of your allies that are within 15 feet of you, you can use that to control it by using a wisdom saving throw versus their spell DC or attack DC. And if you surpass that, you can deflect it, and if you roll a 19 or 20, you can reflect it directly back to where it came. And I'll send this to you in a sheet. And you do know that demons, for the most part, are a constant source of chaos.
Duran is kind of like focusing with his mind to stop the blade, not so much from cutting him, but he feels like that energy flowing chaotically without any borders or restrictions to the people around him, especially King. And he just kind of focuses on, with his mind, holding the spinning hilt in the middle of the blade with his hand, but more so with like the vice, the grip of his mind, of his dedication, his mental strength, and he's gonna stop it with that.
Okay. The only thing you're left with, Durand, is a feeling of uneasiness. Just of, maybe it's the energy that came into you, this power chaos. King, you just don't feel right. But at this point, you're all just kind of in this seance, so you're unable to really say much or say anything. But that definitely come across you, King. And the rest of you just felt this energy of fear. But the energy subsides, and it falls down in front of you, Durand, leaving the two...
Does it fall with the blade in the ground, or...?
No, it falls horizontal, landing onto the ground, flat. Or it floats and hovers to the ground and lands in front of you. So, nothing leaving. So at this point, the voice of Koban is getting louder and louder, and it's almost to scream, but you guys are so numb to it at this point as you're entranced inside this seance. Cal's pistols begins to fly up, and a strange barrier, a crystal barrier forms around them, gleaming out light that gets brighter and brighter. The light gets brighter up to the point when all of your eyes, as you're holding hands so you can't block them, so you just instinctively close them as they're getting too bright. Cal, you keeping your eyes open, this flashlight light wafts over you, and all the sound of the chanting, the blowing of the wind, the energy disappears, and I'll need everyone but Cal to go into the void.
My god. Cal, welcome to the void, my man.
Oh, man. Cal, kicking us out into the void and stuff. Have a good time. Good luck.
So, while you're currently inside of as the light shines and blasts outward, you look around and see nothing but just white space. The entire scenery is gone. There's nothing there. Everything is just completely blank and erased, albeit for just this shining sphere that's glowing in the middle. Floating that sphere, as you look on towards it, begins to grow in shape, and it kind of becomes amoebic and oblong-like until a foot starts to appear, adorned with leather and plate mail onto it, as it still stays in ethereal form, and it begins just growing and forming into a full person. Eventually, after a few moments standing there, looking back to you as if it was the day that you first met, the person that you recognize is the ghostly ethereal presence of your adoptive father, Galilia, who stands there. The only thing that's off-putting about him is that although he looks like Galilia Stelion, his presence screams Kalemvor. Just automatically having to roll. You're looking at Galilia, but you're feeling Kalemvor coming from him. And the entity finally becoming a full-bodied, ethereal form shape, lands onto the ground and walks up towards you and says, "My champion, my creation, my mortal key. It's good to see you well." And this is all in the voice of Galilia.
Tears are streaming down my face. Galilia, Kalemvor, been so long since I've seen you.
He walks up towards you and puts his hand on your shoulder. "It's good to see you as well, my champion, my son. I'm sorry that I had no choice but to leave you that day. I'm sorry that you have to see me in the form that you see me now. Not just Galilia Stelion, not just Kalemvor, but a combination of the two. I've little time and so much to speak to you with. As I'm in this form, my other aspect, the aspect of Hades, is in control." And he looks at you, and then the face, it definitely, it's the face of your father, though something more, and he's definitely giving you the impression that he's worried, extremely worried about something. But then he continues and says, "There are forces at play here. Forces that have been in motion since the beginning. You are the mortal key. You are the key to everything. To the other side, to the different dimensions, to the different worlds. And many people will be searching for your power. Don't trust anyone. Not the Bloodline, not my order, no one. There are even those among you who you blindly put your faith into, who, albeit they may not know it, will cause the destruction of everything. But you are my champion. I trust that you will do what is right. There are doors that are not meant to ever be open, and there will come a time where you will have the choice of the ones that you love or the fate of all of the multiverse. If you open that door, and he looks down, then all will be lost. And he looks away at you at this moment.
Can things be fixed?
Looking back, he says, things can be fixed. If you put a stop to him, he lurks in the shadows, trying to open doors that were never meant to be opened. One man I once called friend, once saw as a brother, a man known as Eros, a shell of a god.
Eros' fault?
He dwelled into something that he never should have. Yes, we all know about the doorway to Eustacia. That's the doorway to the heavens. Not to mention the dark doorway that leads to the abyss where the demons roam. But there's a place much darker on the horizon. Something that will bring true chaos. And that is something that Eros revels in. He's already corrupted my wife. And he looks down. And you think you might see a teardrop from his eye. And he says, but he looks back up. And you're not sure if he's talking about him as a Galilia or Kalimvor himself, but that's all he says. Just look, I don't have much time. The magic that binds us here is weakening. There's two things I want to tell you. The pistols that you hold in your hands, looking down you see in your hands are the pistols. They just kind of appeared there. They have the ability to unlock the potential. They are a conduit for the mortal key. Use this to break any physical seal. And you learn that you have the ability, through using your pistols, to unlock any physical lock. So any lock on a chest, doorway, you can unlock with no roll needed. And then he says, it also has the ability to unlock the potential in others. Use it wisely. Only put your faith into those you trust. And you also learn that using a bonus action, you can unlock the potential into one creature into one creature. The next attack that they make, if they hit, will be considered a critical attack.
Okay, that's awesome. That's super sweet.
And as the figure begins to fade away, he looks towards you and says, and this you feel definitely is Galilia talking. I'm proud of you, my son. I'm proud of the man you've become. I miss you.
You.
And he clenches your shoulder, and he hesitates for a moment, but then goes in and gives you a hug.
I eagerly take the embrace and return with a very tight hug as well.
And then the last words he whispers to you is, keep the door closed. You can't open the aberrant. And then he fades away. And then everything goes back into view as the white light sucks back in to the crystal to the crystal orb light, ethereal light that was this Kalimvor ghost. The scenery comes back, and Koben starts chanting loudly until he finishes his last final words in primordial language as the energy explodes and all of you wake up. So, as Koben's words get louder and louder, all of you, the rest of you were just kind of in this black haze, connecting with your weapons, reliving the memories that you saw before until everything explodes into an ethereal light, blasting back, bringing forth the entire scenery as the glowing from each of the statues subsides. All of your weapons stop glowing, and Koben finally lets out one final Kalikoha! And then drops to the ground. All of your hands release and drop and let go as you all are back into the backyard of Koben's. Well, that was... Did you all receive the answers you were looking for?
More so. That was so much.
Minako is looking at her wand like there's something wrong with it, and you can see there's a frown on her face, and she kind of like buries her head in her hands and looks down.
Cal is still kneeling. You can all see tears that have dried, and there's streaks on his cheeks, and he's still kind of breathing heavy, panting. Yeah, I got a lot out of this.
And I couldn't see you. I blacked out.
Oh,
it was too much.
There's a lot that I have to think about.
I believe there's a lot that all of us have to think about as Horatio is still staring at the staff.
As he says those words, I turn my head and stare at Minako. Yeah.
Duran, I was so worried that blade was gonna slice your neck. I couldn't do anything.
I can control it. He snaps at King. I mean,
You said you can control it? Like, the chaos? What's happening exactly?
Is it Horatio? The blade, I don't know how to explain it, but in the same way that it pulls and moves metal, I believe it may be able to pull and move the energy of the chaos itself.
That's interesting. Horatio grabs the staff of Alsalar, stands up, and begins to help everyone else up. He goes to King first.
Oh, thank you. I stumble a little bit, put my hand on the ground as I kneel, and take his hand.
And then he goes over to Minako and helps her out.
She's breathing hard and shaking, but kind of eventually looks up and notices that you're there, and says, "Oh, yeah," and grabs the wand, kind of gingerly, before accepting your hand and standing up with you.
You alright?
Sometimes it's hard when you remember something and it's so real. It's like in the visions. Did you get any answers you were looking for?
No, maybe.
That flames there, and she looks at you, and then she looks down and just whispers, "They're waiting for me."
They're waiting for you. No.
We'll get.
Let's.
Cal, we should see how he's doing.
Yeah.
And she looks away from you and just
Horatio then goes over to Cal and tries to help him up.
I put my revolvers back into their holsters and accept Horatio's hand to help me up, wiping my face dry like there was nothing happening.
Were they good answers?
Yes, they were answers long overdue.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cobain gets up and goes into the mill. The divine candle our king had put up before has completely burnt out. It's as if the entire candle has been burnt away, leaving nothing, not even the wick. He stands into the middle and goes, "Well, I see it was a powerful experience for all of us. Is there anything? Need something to drink and to eat? How are you all feeling?"
Cobain, did you see any of that?
No, usually when I infuse in channel, I usually go to a happy place, a different place, a place of concentration in my mind, so I can just let everything flow out. You don't want to fry my brain now.
Thank you. This was more than I hoped for. I think I speak for all of us when I say that.
Yeah.
Maybe some water? I'm a little parched.
Oh, right.
I feel dry. And I'm just keeping my head down and walking past the group.
I would actually take some water as well, please, Cobain.
Certainly. I'll be right back. And he goes and walks away.
I was gonna help him, but I guess I'll just shuffle back.
Well, it takes him about 5 minutes or so until he returns with some water for everybody. But for the most part, he leaves you alone to digest what transpired. What do you would like to do next? It's quite late. The sky is clear, though it's still dusk.
I'm going to walk over to Duran then, after he leaves to go get the water, and I'm gonna just bury my face into his chest, and I'm gonna say, "I was so afraid, I felt so helpless, and I know you say you can control it, but I feel this darkness within me now. Or, it's not there, but it felt as if there was this darkness reaching for my light. Chaos scares me. You have to be careful."
Said I can control it. I'm sorry. This weapon, it might be finally the chance I have to strike back at Doramo and at those who kidnapped my kindred. I haven't felt so close to freeing my people in so long, but I can do it.
Afraid it will try and consume you.
I won't let that happen.
I won't let that happen. And then I'll squeeze him tighter.
I'll embrace King with all the strength he has left right now.
So you two embrace each other, and everyone who looks on overseas them have a moment. Is there anything else anyone wants to say during this respite?
Duran also whispers in King's ear, Can I pet the unicorn?
Yes, we'll meet her later.
Alright. So if there was nothing else, you all gather your things from being out there and collect yourselves. Cobain steps out, says to you once again, "Well, that's just a very long. You're welcome to stay. I have plenty of places to rest if you want to stay here. If not, I'm going to call it a night."
Thanks, Cobain, for hosting.
My pleasure. I've never had such a intense communion before. Just you all are something. Something
Yeah.
indeed.
Cobain, I do not know much of these magic rituals, but we all saw visions of each other's experiences. Could someone standing outside of our circle have seen those as well?
Well, actually, if it was shown out as a projection, then yes, people who are outside of the circle could have witnessed it. But to be sure, I have wards and everything here. No one's going to be able to appear in. I mean, unless they're super powerful or something like that. But I don't. Trust me, no one really cares for Koben and my small tiny shop. You're fine.
All right, thank you. We're not that far from our house. I think perhaps a quick stroll and some fresh air might do us good. Right, because we're both in the Light District, so...
Yes, you're about a half an hour away from your house, or so.
Oh, King, before we go, do you want to, maybe we should grab a bite here? Have a talk.
He wants to go to bed. Let's not impose here. We should perhaps save that for another time.
Alright.
I mean...
Koben, are you hungry?
It's fine. Let's just go back. She looks dejected.
Before we leave, Horatio walks up to Koben and says, I need to speak to you tomorrow morning if it's alright.
Certainly, Master Horatio. I'll be up early, first thing in the morning, if you want to stop by.
Alright, so yeah, I'll see you tomorrow morning, alright?
Or did you want to start training with your infusion magic?
Yes. Although, I believe tomorrow's the gala.
Oh yes, it is tomorrow night.
Yes, so... How long would training be?
Oh, we can start with the basics. It'll take about 3-4 hours just to get you there. You wouldn't be able to do much, or at least you learn the process. And then over the course of the weeks, we can get more into practical magic.
Okay, so 3-4 hours tomorrow morning?
Yeah, that works.
Alright, so see you at 8.
6.
Oh, okay. Horatio exits. Says, have a good night.
And you as well, Master Horatio. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm sure you can see yourselves out. These old bones. Oh. And he says as he flexes a little bit with all of his muscles. Just, I need some rest. And he walks up the stairs.
Absolutely.
So the night is yours. You can do what you wish or head back to...
You said it was kind of late. How late is it?
Yeah, it's about midnight. Getting really close to midnight around.
Do we want to get jumped or do we want to crash here and then leave in the morning?
Jumped in the Light Noble District? Get out of here.
Okay.
I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
Let's head back to the mansion and get some rest.
All right.
Yeah, maybe the morning will be a bit better.
So you all gather your things, close up shop for Koben, and as you close the door behind, wondering how it would lock, it seems to just lock itself as you hear the sounds of the chains being placed on. You walk your way throughout the night and take about 20 minutes or so as you power walk your way over to the manor, going through passing through the district and the town, passing the canal with the glittering sapphire waters. You enter through your garden, open up your door, and are back inside of your mansion. Coming out of the walls, you see kind of with a rumble forming out of it is the automaton who says, "Welcome back, masters. Hope your trip was fruitful. Is there anything I could get you?"
While it's coming out of the wall, Duran's just holding his hand against the wall, being like, no. Just trying to shove it back in the wall where it came from.
So you're trying to push, as you're pushing back to it and you're pushing it back, it's kind of like this weird effect while you push it all the way back in, and from the other side of the wall, it pushes back out. But it doesn't seem anger or anything.
We require no assistance this evening, thank you.
You are dismissed.
Very well then. And it fuses back in, looking at you with his eyes in the wall until bloop, blinks away, and it's just a normal wall.
Insight check that eye look. Is it going to kill us in our sleep?
Is it deja vu?
It is just the automaton was just looking at you before it went back.
I felt it was looking at me with attitude.
So, are you guys heading to bed?
I think so. Horatio would be.
I'm gonna take since it's a rare delicacy, I'm gonna go and take a quick shower and then head to bed.
Alright.
And just stand under the water for 15 minutes.
Anyone else doing anything?
So after everyone kind of goes out, Monaco's just waiting in the back. And she doesn't go to bed, at least for a little bit. She just stays outside in the backyard and kind of like the region with the kind of yarded in beautiful region in the back. And she just stays outside there with the stones and kind of does a couple of gentle dance moves, but otherwise just doesn't go to sleep immediately.
Are you stone dancing?
Yeah,
Okay.
but just kind of like to try to center herself. That whole experience was a lot.
Okay.
And then
No, go ahead.
and then after kind of like moving the stones like a little bit, like here and there, for maybe an hour or so till like 1 a.m. and it's I mean, it's not like there's the sunrise and sunset, but their artificial sun is down, and she goes back in and she like walks up to her door and then looks at it, and there's like this moment where she's like too afraid to go into her bedroom, and then she like kind of shaking at the handle, turns around and then goes up to Horatio's door and knocks on it.
Okay. Horatio, what have you been doing at this time?
Horatio would have just been getting ready for bed, like have a book opened on the table in the room or the desk in the room, and just reading some info because has a early morning tomorrow morning, so he's kind of getting ready for bed.
All right. And at that time, you hear a knock on your door.
Horatio answers. Oh, hey.
Hey, can I come in?
Of course, yeah. And he allows her in.
She's like kind of holding her arm, and she's like looking around kind of nervously, and she says, I'm just worried. That was so bright. Everyone saw.
Horatio looks at the hall and then closes the door. Have a seat.
She does so, kind of like once again putting her hands on her knees and her head in her hands. And she says, I mean, he knows, right? There's no way.
So, I mean...
Horatio, I don't want to be alone.
I mean, you can always be here with me. I'll be by your side. Thank you.
It's just...
As she's stumbling through all those words, Horatio just goes in for a kiss.
She reacts like not leading into it, but she kind of like pulls back, like looking at you shocked. Horatio,
I'm sorry.
Oh wait, and then she kind of like holds him and like leans her head against his chest and says, "Just wait,
You feel his heart beating like 1,000 miles an hour.
I'm sorry. There's a lot."
I'm sorry. Shouldn't have done that.
And then she like lifts her head up and looks at you right in the eyes and says, It's okay. And then closes her eyes and leans in.
Horatio leans in as well.
And there's a moment where they connect, and she's shaking, and she pulls back and looks back at you and says, "Hey, could we? It's pretty late."
Yeah, no, it's fine. And if he notices her shaking, he kind of just brings her in for a hug and kind of tries to comfort her to calm her down.
And you can feel like there's this moment where she's like kind of holding it in, and then she just lets it out. She just lets it all out onto his shoulder, crying, just bawling and bawling.
Yeah. Horatio comforts her to the best of his ability, I guess. Rubbing her head and all of that. Just
her horn catches your cheek.
Oh, it's okay. I'll always be here for you.
Okay. Are you, Monaco, are you spending the night there with Horatio?
Yeah, they kind of sit over to the bed and then lie down, and she'll turn away from him and just sort of like hold herself and say, good night.
Good night. Yeah.
Okay. So, you two of you fall asleep on the bed after experiencing that moment, and you slowly drift off into a sleepless slumber. Cal, Duran, are you doing anything specific or just heading to bed as well?
Duran is kind of just waiting in the room, looking at the blade in the corner, waiting for King to get back from a shower.
Okay. So, King, after you finish standing, how long would you be standing underneath this shower?
Like 10-15 minutes just to like rinse off and have a moment by myself. And then I want to go back and talk to Duran before we like go to sleep.
Okay.
So I would expect him to be there.
And there he is as you walk out of the shower, toweling yourself off. You step out in whatever garment that you normally wear to bed, and there waiting for you inside of the room is Duran.
Duran, what do you think? What do you think everything means? You saw what I saw during the ritual tonight.
We've been through a lot in these past few days. So much magic. It's all so incredible and hard to understand, but it seems like it makes the impossible possible, and it always seems to have a cost. I know that I worried you earlier. You cast your spell and I felt my energy slip away, but I want to let you know that even if I were to lose 100 years of my life, 1,000, even if I was just going to be living for this one last night, I would rather have a single moment with you than 1,000 years without you. I don't doubt what I did, and I understand what you need to do to save the world.
I just have like a tear sort of run down my face, and I run to embrace him, and I say, we will save this world together and live peacefully in it as long as we can. We will find and make our Eden together.
I know I said I could control this, but long ago, King, my battle brother, one of the Valkyrie elves, sorry.
It's all right if it's a difficult tale to tell. You don't have to talk about it tonight.
No, one of my battle brothers, Corin, when we were back in the first layer of the world, we would battle. I would see a look in his eyes where he would completely lose himself. Combat, bloodlust, not to the beauty and the art of the blade, or saving those around him, but that feeling when he saw steel tear through flesh, when he saw his enemy wince, and the rush of it. One time, I interrupted him in a battle, and for one moment he turned on me with those same eyes. I couldn't understand how someone could lose themselves so much to so much anger and bloodlust. But for a moment tonight, when that wave of energy came over me, I felt its dark, seductive energy. I know I said I could handle it on my own, King, but I need you. I can't do anything without you. I can't do this without you. And
I know how hard it must have been to ask for my help. We're used to having to deal with it, all the pressures on our own, and you know the answer to that already. You know I'll help you. You're my world, you're my everything, and we have a people to save and a world to rebuild.
Together.
That
he grabs King and holds him tight and pulls him up to his height for a kiss.
I'll, comply and wrap my arms around his neck and give him a big kiss. And I'll say, this is a lot, but together we are undefeatable.
Alright, so as you two embrace each other and then fall asleep for the evening after sharing words, is there anything you are doing, Cal, in specific?
Yeah, as Cal sees her first, Horatio and King and Duran exit up and away to the quarters, he hears their doors close and the silence of everyone starting to go to bed. And then he hears the muffled sounds of Minako and another door closing, and the silence kind of washes over him as he's sitting there at the dining table by himself. He fixes himself a glass of whiskey and kind of sits in silence for a while, thinking about what transpired tonight, and just kind of meditates on what he was told and on all the different levels of what it could mean and what it does mean.
Okay. And how late do you stay up?
For a few hours, probably 2-3 hours, and then turns down all of the lanterns and makes sure that the fire in the fireplace or whatever goes out and goes off to bed.
Alright. After finishing your drink and heading your way back to bed. How much do you drink, by the way?
I think he drinks 2 or 3 glasses of whiskey neat.
Neat. Okay. You had a day.
It was a day.
I was walking back towards your room, and you're a little tipsy after having this. Though you're not like drunk in stupor. Images of what you of the like a Gilliamvor, Kellenvis, however you want to call them, the combination of the two of them. They flash before your eyes as you're walking up to the stairs until finally making your way, and the words just keep flashing into your head, especially that last whisper of "Don't let them open it," until you finally go and you fall asleep. All of you have a peaceful sleep, with the exception of Cal. Cal, throughout your dreams, all you see are just flashes of creatures beyond any of your imagination, flooding through what seems some type of doorway, then flashing to just people screaming in terror and mayhem and pain, and people crying out for salvation. You see a place, a kingdom in the sky, you're not sure, but it falls down, passing through space, crashing down into the material plane below as everything is obliterated, leaving nothing but these strange creatures floating about. You still benefit from a long rest, but it's just not a good rest, though. But you all wake up, and let me give you all a long rest. But you all wake up from your sleep. It is, a full 6 hours of sleep is what you really need. Because I'll say, like, the couple hours you took to hang out and do your final things will incorporate to a long rest. You can, Horatio, to get up at 6, but everyone else will be getting up more like 8 to complete a full 8 hours rest.
So I can get up at 6.
Yeah, and still get a long rest, yes.
Well, I have to be up before 6 because it takes me 30 minutes to get there.
Oh, that's true. That's fine. 5:30. Yeah, you get up with enough time to get there.
Yeah.
And we went to bed at 1.
You just won't benefit from a long rest. I don't know if you use any spell slots or anything that needs to be recovered.
Nah, I got spell slots, so I'll do that.
Okay, so you wake up early enough. You don't get the benefit of a long rest, but you don't have to worry about getting any type of exhaustion.
Cool. And it'll be Coben's first thing in the morning.
Okay, so then let me give everyone else a long rest. All right. So as you all wake up from your sleep, Horatio, you awaken first, waking up early, so not getting a benefit of a long rest, but wanting to get there on time. As everyone else slowly starts to muster up from the night, we will take a break.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh my god, such a
Yay!
dramatic scene.
Yo,
The
my
drama.
goodness, the drama.
Hey there, Dungeon Delvers. Thank you for listening. I would like to take this time to thank all of the wonderful people who helped bring Descent into the Void, a tale of D20s to life. Starting with Frank Freire, who designed our character art, Kyle Misko, who collaborated on the main, mystical, and night theme songs, Manuel Lapuca, who collaborated on our battle and adventuring theme song, Jan Rosa for the use of their original soundtracks, David Chappell for the use of his End of Silence, A World of Color soundtrack, MFY for the use of their Dragon Castle Symphony for Duran's theme song, and Danny.Phantom.01 for creating the Liberator's full art. You can find more about these wonderful artists on our website, ataleofd20s.com. Now click on to part 2, and let's continue our epic tale.